As a weekend of quality rugby action draws to a close, with two big wins for both Ireland and Wales, it is now time to name the team of the week. Now, as always, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree with my selections, and who would you swap in and swap out? As always, I'll be very interested to read what you have to say. Now, I'm going to start off in the front row. Now, no other than Andrew Porter starts at loose head for me. Theo Dan starts at hooker. And on the other side of the scrum, Thomas Francis. I was really impressed with this front row. Andrew Porter, I thought, did incredibly well for Ireland. A lot of the Irish people in the comment section down below were saying how they thought Porter should have been man of the match. Now, I can't disagree. When a prop plays 75 minutes against a huge South African pack, two fresh front rows, he deserves the accolades, that's for sure. So, look, brilliant performance from Andrew Porter. And look, if he buckled in that game, or if he was having an off game and the Boks got on top of him in the scrum time, that could have been a completely different story. So it was imperative that Andrew Porter performed the way he did. On the other side of the scrum, we have Thomas Francis. I thought he was really, really strong against Australia. Now, look, he doesn't tend to get under the bright lights in terms of praise, but he was really, really solid, and you never really see him have an awful game. So brilliant from Tom Francis. Got a couple scrum penalties later on in the match, and he was, very impressive. At number two, Saracens' own Theo Dan. As a Saracens and England supporter, it's always good to see Theo Dan, and especially young players doing well. And I thought he was really, really good in this game. His line-out darts were impressive. Now, look, you have to obviously sort of give it a measured approach, considering they're playing a Chile team in which they defeated by sort of 70, nearly 80 points. So, look, you can't be too over the moon, but I'm really happy with his development, and I think he's doing some really good stuff. His ball carrying has really improved. And he looks like a player which we could see sort of 5-10 years in the future start consistently for England. Now in the second rows, I'm going with Franco Mostert and I'm going with Richie Gray. Now I thought these two were very impressive for their respective teams. Franco Mostert was obviously part of the South African second row duo disrupting the Irish line-out ball. Now I've seen a couple people in the comment section down below mention how there wasn't actually a gap in the line-out, which obviously gave South Africa an advantage. Look, I didn't pick up on this watching live. Maybe if I go and have a little look back at it, maybe there was. But putting that aside, I thought Franco Mostert was really strong in the line-out time. Really got up and disrupted. And also around the park, I thought his work rate was really quite exceptional. The other second row is Richie Gray. I thought he was really, really good for Scotland against Tonga. I thought he got up in the air really nicely. And that Scotland line-out just worked an absolute treat. Scotland are a very good attacking side, and when they have set piece, that matches the ambition to attack and provides the backs with real quick ball. They can be very, very dangerous. So good service from Richie Gray, and I was very impressed. Now moving into the back row, I'm going with Peter O'Mahony. I'm going to go with Jack Morgan, and I'm going to go with Caelan Doris. Very unfortunately, Taulupe Faletau misses out, but I just thought Caelan Doris edged him just slightly. And the Irish were in a more competitive game, so maybe that's why I slightly lean towards Caelan Doris. But starting off at 6, Peter O'Mahony. Now I thought his leadership was just huge for Ireland in this game. I thought the fact that the line-out went really, really wrong, and then Peter O'Mahony sort of took the grip, and really took control of the line-out. He took the responsibility upon himself to jump himself, and I think he was the player in which sort of got the line-out back under control, along with when Ian Henderson came on as well, the line-out definitely shored up then as well. So good leadership from Peter O'Mahony, and especially around the park, he was just a menace, throwing himself into breakdown after breakdown, tackle after tackle, and very, very impressive. Now talking of very impressive, Jack Morgan was just phenomenal. I've never seen a flanker kick so many, not even 50-22s, 22-22 kicks. He was unreal. He gets through so many tackles. I believe it was 17 tackles in that game against Australia. Considering Wales had a lot of the ball, that just shows how he really does put himself around the pitch, and he really puts his body on the line. So brilliant work from Jack Morgan. Also, one thing to mention about Jack Morgan was the try within the first sort of few minutes, where he gave that unbelievable inside ball to Gareth Davies. Really quite an astute and clever ball inside. So fair play to Jack Morgan. He's really maturing, especially as a very young player, and also a young captain. Number 8, as I've mentioned, Caelan Doris. Now I feel this player just takes so much responsibility upon himself to really provide Ireland with a real solid platform, especially when they had lineouts on their own 5-metre line. He'd be the option in which Jameson Gibson-Park or Conor Murray would look to hit, and he'd just catch that ball at full tilt under his own line, which is which is no easy task, and just carry sort of 15 metres, which gave a real nice platform for the Irish to exit their 22. So little things like that, when a player steps up and does their job, not necessarily doing anything outside of what they're meant to do, but just does their job incredibly well, it definitely needs to be commended. And now at 9 and 10 we have two Gareths. At 10 we've got Gareth Anscombe, and at 9 we've got Gareth Davies. Now look, these two just absolutely gelled. After Dan Biggar unfortunately went off with what looked like a pectoral injury, Gareth Anscombe just stepped up hugely. Gareth Davies got the opening score of the match, as I said, with an inside ball from Jack Morgan. A really, really good pace, and I believe he, in the Rugby World Cup, is now the all-time top scorer for scrum halves, which is just a brilliant statistic for all the Welsh fans out there. He played really, really well. Unbelievable box kicking. I mean, he was kicking from his own 22, from a box kick sort of to the Australian 10-metre line. Now, it wasn't going to touch, but it was really, really pushing the Australians back. And he was definitely part of Wales winning the kicking duel. And then at 10, talking of kicking, Gareth Anscombe, I think it was 23 points via his boot. Some really, really intelligent stuff. Wales took their opportunities, which were, some would argue, put on a plate by Australia, and kicked their 3 points when they needed to, kicked their drop goals when they needed to as well from Gareth Anscombe, and definitely played in the right areas, and I thought he was instrumental to that. Gareth Anscombe isn't a player in which you tend to see make many errors, so he was really phenomenal in this game. Now, the centre combination for me is going to be Bundy, Aki and George North. Now, Bundy Aki is in a rich vein of form at the moment. He scored 4 tries in the opening 2 games. He obviously didn't score in this game. I mean, it was so close that you don't really expect many players to score, but he was definitely instrumental to that Irish performance. Brilliant tackle against Jesse Creel on the Irish sort of 5 metre line, which if he missed it, it would have been a try for South Africa. So really good goal line defence from Bundy Aki, and he made that really nice break up the midfield as well. So little things like that a 12 can do, definitely puts the team on the front foot, and he was really instrumental in this game. Talking of players that were instrumental, George North is really maturing into a quality outside centre. Now look, he doesn't play the traditional style of an outside centre. You don't tend to see him sort of running wide arcs or kicking the ball through off his boot, but what he does do is he plays his role within the team really well. You often see Tompkins and North both running really hard, and that little tip option or the ball out the back, and look, most of the time it's very effective, and George North once again reaped the rewards of this, and he makes some lovely breaks through that little set play. And he defended really well as well in this game, got over the game line consistently, and he gave Wales the platform in which they desperately needed, and they will desperately need going forward into the knockout stages. And both Bundy Aki and George North will be huge for their teams in the knockouts. And in terms of the back 3, I'm going to go with James Lowe, Emiliano Boffelli, and at fullback was the hardest, probably one of the hardest positions to pick from. I'm actually going to write 2 names down. I'm going to go with Damien Willemse, and I'm going to go with Blair Kinghorn. Now, in terms of the wingers, James Lowe, what a player. His ability to do things outside of what you expect from a winger. Obviously, if he finishes well and he's fast, scores tries, but his left boot was instrumental. And then another thing was his work at the breakdown. He got an absolutely pivotal turnover, which from wingers securing turnovers is just exceptional. It means that, at training they're not just doing the sort of the running and the kicking and the sort of high ball training that they need to do. They're also paying attention to other areas of the game which can really elevate them to that world-class level. And James Lowe has definitely adopted this sort of attitude and mentality. And he's proving to be worth his weight in gold for that Irish side. Emiliano Boffelli in the 14 jersey. That was a strong win for Argentina on the weekend. I think it was Friday night, maybe Thursday night. And he really showed his worth within that team. It was a must-win for Argentina, and in games in which everything's on the line, you need your big players to step up, and Boffelli definitely did that. Most of the points in the game were scored by him. He crossed the whitewash as well as kicking a lot of penalties as well. So, look, as I said, when you need your big players to step up, and they step up, they definitely deserve their credit. And then at fullback, this is where I was really, really stuck. Damien Willemse, I thought was phenomenal. In what was a losing effort from the South Africans, I thought he really stepped up. look, he's got hot competition for that jersey with Willie LaRue in that 15 jersey as well. But I thought he did really, really well. So some really good glimpses of footwork, really good kicking game, great under the high ball, and I thought he was exceptional. And then Blair Kinghorn, obviously he was playing against slightly less competitive opposition, but nonetheless that Tongan team were very, very physical. And he scored a nice try, could have had another. He really is pacey. Like, I didn't expect him to be so fast. He's got that rather upright running style, and he's very tough to bring down, especially when he's running along the outside arc at such pace. He's got great vision as well, so he knows when to put boot to ball or draw and pass. So some really good stuff from Blair Kinghorn. And with him moving back to 15 with Finn Russell at 10, Scotland have got a really nice attacking dynamic with two ball players there as well, which can be very, very helpful. So look, that is my team of the week. Let me know what changes you would make. Look, some of these positions were very competitive this week. Obviously, with two huge games going on, that's always going to be the case. And let me know what your thoughts are. Who would you swap in? Who would you swap out? As always, I'll get back to every single comment, and I'm very interested to see what you have to say. So thank you very much for watching.